Meet Jacob Joy, the new president of Thai Kerala. His life is a rich blend of expertise and passion, much like a decadent truffle. From his family's heritage in confectionery to his innovative ventures at Jacobi, Jacob's journey is paved with a deep affection for the world of chocolate. Now he brings that same passion to fostering entrepreneurial excellence within Kerala. Get ready to hear his insights on the food industry, his love for all things cocoa, and his vision for a future as sweet as the perfect bonbon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly honored to have Jacob Joy with us.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you.
And Starfold Media, in association with Herald Media Network, we are proudly presenting to you Jacob Joy, and followed by the questions that we have. And Jacob Joy is truly honored to be with us as well, right, sir?
Definitely.
Okay. And we're going to do this for all the chocolate lovers around the world, in fact. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the delicious path that led you from the food industry to the heart of the chocolate world. Was it a sprinkle of serendipity or a fated ganache fantasy?
Wow. As a family, we were into confectionery. So confectionery, everyone assumes candies, chocolates, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I think only the building is the same because you change everything else.
Okay.
And I'm a finance graduate.
Awesome.
And so having got into confectionery, I think the bug of understanding what was going on behind the scene got me into a course in Germany for a diploma in confectionery.
Awesome.
This was basically for understanding what was happening in the back end. I used to hate chemistry in school, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
But then today my life is full of sugars and chemistry.
Exactly.
Life has its ways.
Exactly.
Whilst I was there was this course on chocolate. So I decided I love chocolate. I've always wondered why we never used to get good chocolate in the country. And that being said, I said, if this course is there, let me go figure out what chocolate is.
Okay.
And my parents call it a midlife crisis. They say suddenly out of the blue, he's decided to go do chocolate.
Seriously, yeah.
And I attended that course for a couple of months and I got hooked. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Very true, yeah. That's fantastic. Now, your family's confectionery business sounds like a wonderland. What are some golden nuggets of knowledge you gleaned from these early days dipped in rich experience?
So everyone assumes that if you have a family business, you just go and sit in the office.
Okay.
You get a golden drop, a parachute drop into your...
Yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately for me, my father was not that type. So he ensured that I spent, soon after my degree, I spent about a year at the shop floor. Just literally on the shop floor, reporting to the manager, understanding the nuances in and out. See, just to give you a perspective, so if you're making about 500 tons of sweets in a month, and each kilo is about 250 sweets, you can imagine the number of sweets that is.
Yes, indeed.
So attention to detail is something which was very important. Because, for example, if I gave one extra sweet in every half kg packet that I gave, just check the number of sweets that would go.
Yeah.
Or, for example, the quality. In terms of when you're doing so much of production, everyone assumes, yes, you can rework. But then it's additional cost.
Okay.
Also, your candies are going to children.
Yeah.
So I have a very, and I follow it today. I keep telling, if my children come into my factory and I have even an iota of doubt that they shouldn't be eating what I'm making, I should stop the business.
Seriously.
So when children come or whatever, and the other side, I used to tell my people all the time, if I feel like lying down on the floor in the chocolate factory, I should be able to do it. In the candy factory, I should be able to do so. We were one of the first in the country to get the ISO 22000 audit done successfully. I think the second company in the country. And my principals asked me at that time, why would you want to do such a thing? But I think the backbone was always my mother, because she was the one who was
very supportive.
Quality was for her paramount. And that gives me those small nuggets that you've asked for, right? The first thing, there are no shortcuts. It's as simple as that. There are no shortcuts. Two, you need to have a passion, but a passion to perceive. So you got to really perceive behind what you're doing, right? Just having a passion and assuming things will happen. So that perseverance, because
speaks louder than words.
You got to keep working. So because you have your good days, you have your bad days. You have a whole team dependent on you. You cannot let your good days or bad days rub off on them. For them, it has to be the same day. And you cannot let your good days or bad days affect the decision-making process. So now, what is your decision-making process? So systems, processes. So all that started coming in. In fact, I was chatting with someone yesterday who used to work with us in those days, and she had just resigned from a job. So I was told. So I said, "Why did you leave?" She said, "So when I used to work with you, you used to set up processes, and come what may, you used to ensure that those processes had to be maintained. Unfortunately, today's companies set up processes for audits, and then after that, they just do what they want."
Oh, so you have to implement that beautiful system that is essential for your business. It has
to work. See, you cannot do something. At the end of the day, you have to do something which improves your business and which you believe in. If you're doing it for someone else, it's a very short-term outlook to things. So confectionery and the family taught me these things. And one thing I learned very early on is it's not about you. It's about your team. It's about the people. Right from the person who opens the gate to the person who cleans the factory. Everyone has to do their job, because if each of them don't do their job, you can just sit in the office and do nothing. So there's no hierarchy per se, because you're a sweeper, you are lesser than me, or because I am so and so. You have to create an equal playing ground, because everyone has to be able to do their job.
That perspective. That is fantastic.
And also for me, another thing which I was told very early on is attitude is what you need to look for. Qualification, you can learn. If you have the right attitude, you can learn. And we used to hire people, and many of them took much longer to learn because they were not qualified for that particular job. Most of them are still working with me today, heading my businesses, heading my accounts. So
you being a financial person,
see, I always say learning is something which you can do if you have the right attitude. Unfortunately, today we are so wrapped up in these degrees and what is your qualification? Do you have the experience? How does a fresher get a job if everyone says you need an experience? So you need to be able to provide a platform for people to come and prove themselves. Some of them will succeed, some of them will not. Some of them will, but I guess that's they'll drop out. People look for different things in different organizations. I cannot satisfy everyone who works.
That's true.
And I think in confectionery, that's what we did. And that laid the foundation. Those learning years is what I operate on even today. And for that, I'm thankful for all the people who were there at that point in time, contributing and pushing me to the limit, right? Awesome. So another thing which I learned that day is if you get a solution immediately, that's not the best solution. You got to push. So unfortunately, we always catch the lower hanging fruits because we've got a solution. So get on with it.
Let's just play with it, right?
Doesn't work. And while we talk about chocolate, I'll tell you probably how that has helped evolve Jacoby into what it is today, because those are the learnings which are the bedrock of what Jacoby today is. So
fantastic. The prestigious Wharton program must have been a real sugar rush for your business acumen. How did it influence how you approach the delectable world of chocolate commerce?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, a degree is something. The people who you do the degree with is what makes it truly worthwhile. I have had the opportunity to do courses across the globe in the best of universities, which includes Wharton. So I've done at ISB, I've done at IMD. In fact, I've had Harvard professors teach me. But it's always been the group. And I think these institutions actually flourish on the alumni network and
That's right.
and the people who you've networked with over those years. That being said, I think the difference in the good universities is that they make you believe in yourself. They give you the belief that you don't stop when you want to stop, because you know that there's more inside you. Unfortunately, many times we just
the
stop.
Power of growth.
The power of growth, the power of perseverance. See,
yes, exactly.
all of us would like to stop, because when things don't go well, you're like, why am I doing this? They used to make us slow. I know days when at 8 o'clock in the evening you're told you have a presentation in the morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh God.
And you're being graded for it. How do you... So those days you used to wonder, why are we doing all this?
Okay.
Today it's prepared you for what it is. Right? So the Wharton program was an accelerated program. So I did an MBA at ESSEC Business School in France. Again, number one in France. Again, the same approach to where they make you come prepared, and the professors are facilitators. They facilitate a discussion happening within the group that you are there, and you learn in that process.
So you are the cream people.
The cream and the thought. See, it's not someone telling you what it is.
Okay.
It is you discussing what it is. It's a huge difference.
So you're implementing your thoughts as well.
You're implementing your thoughts, but you're also... See, there are two things to it. One, the power to acknowledge that someone else has a better thought than you.
Okay.
Is very important.
Yes.
Today, all of us assume that I'm the brightest in the room, so what I say is right.
Okay.
Do we have that in us to agree that someone else's idea is better than ours?
Okay.
Or maybe the combination of maybe 3 or 4 ideas or thoughts is what gives you the output.
Okay.
And I truly believe in that. In everything I do, I believe that I'm not the smartest in the room.
Okay.
I believe that I'm good at facilitating. I'm good at getting ideas and things out. I'm happy listening to people. I'm happy being proved wrong.
Okay.
And I think all these universities, what enables you is this. And I think that's the long-term view, right? So you get a team with you, you're able to take their views, they feel empowered. The more empowered they are, the more free you are, right? So
I understand that. I'll just stay aside types. That's great. Okay, so manufacturing can be a tricky terrain, even for confectionery connoisseurs. Tell us about the challenges you faced navigating the economic intricacies of the chocolate industry and how you overcame them with a sprinkle of ingenuity.
Chocolate in India is actually a very misconstrued term, right? So we assume everything that comes in a package and is brown in color is a chocolate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've been brought up like that. We don't know what's a chocolate, and we've been brought up to the old chocolates, which while we were growing up, I don't want to put names to.
Yeah, very true.
And we always knew they were not as good as what we were getting outside. Because we used to wait for our uncles or aunts or someone to come from abroad with those boxes of chocolates, right? So we were always looking outside. But the giants in the industry have it their way, and people like us who are the small artisans who are trying to create something which is a little more passion driven, a little more local. How do you create flavor profiles in the ganache? How do you tweak a bit so that good becomes extraordinary? And this is where I told you a little while ago, where everyone else stops, you go.
Okay,
and,
understood.
And that extra is what is Jacoby. So if I were to, all the recipes are done by me. So my job in the factory is to design the products, and that's it. And so I do the R&D, we do product testing, which sometimes it works in an hour. Sometimes it takes us 7 months, 8 months. I know we have products in the market today which took us about 8 months to develop. And it is not that the product we developed first was not good. It was just that we were not satisfied. And unfortunately or fortunately, we have clients and customers who are very finicky today. If I change my almond roast, I know customers who will call me and ask me, there is something different in the batch you made today. or if I change my coffee roast, if I change the bean.
So you might have a particular taster also.
I do the tasting. So I do the tasting, and I've trained everyone in the factory. At least I've trained a team of people in the office and the factory. So we sit on Tuesdays, we sit and we taste products. But it's always, I have a very, let me put it this way, what I like may not be the one which sells. And I've realized that. I have a very different taste. I like bitter. I like less sweet.
Understood.
The market in India likes sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
Likes nice.
That's why our diabetes rate is going
up. Yeah. So probably what I like is not maybe what I'm pushing out.
Okay.
But if the customers want that, then we do that. And there's a lot of customization involved in our products. Customization, and I mean not just taking a box and putting a sleeve around it.
Okay.
We design products for our customer.
Okay.
So we have customers in the spice industry who gift chocolates which have been made with their own spice extracts.
Okay.
We've made chocolates with moringa for a customer who's in the moringa industry.
Okay.
We've filled chocolate with ashwagandha, which is horrendous to taste, and given it to clients of us who are happy with the product and take it abroad for their exhibitions.
Fantastic. Yeah.
We use curcumin in our products. And all this is very different. So, for example, if you're having a chili chocolate, when do you want the chili to hit you? Do you want the chili as you bite into the chocolate, or do you want the chili after you finish?
Okay.
So, do you want to finish eating the chocolate and say, "Oh, my mouth is still spicy"?
Yeah.
Or should you leave feeling a nice? So, this requires technical knowledge, and this, and this is where I think that the little extra comes in.
As to me.
If you make a chocolate with ingredients plain out, you will get spice at the end. I know. So you mix everything, you will be left with the chili at the end. Now, how do you get the chili in the beginning? The same product, the same ingredients. So now what do you change? So that process of how you add what at what time, do you do something with something in the beginning, and those nuances is what makes us stand out, or this is what we are trying to do. We acknowledge that we are not going to be a large-scale chocolate factory or manufacturer because the market is not that big. But our clients definitely acknowledge what we're doing, and they want what we're doing. So and so, as I said earlier, if I change the recipe, I get calls, whether it is better or worse. And that helps. But it keeps me on my toes. Because we don't have a choice.
Very true. When did you realize that chocolate wasn't just a delightful indulgence, but a calling that demanded your expertise and passion?
I don't look at chocolate as a product. I look at chocolate as an expression of myself and as an expression of joy and freedom. And I think this is what I always tell everyone. I said, I look at your face when you eat a chocolate. I don't listen to what you're saying. I am looking at how you've eaten the product, what is your response, because sometimes what the mind is thinking and what you're saying don't match.
Will be different, yes.
And I've realized that the simple joy of just sitting and watching a child or anyone pick up a chocolate and just eat and get lost in that transition for a few seconds. It's that initial few seconds they get lost in that transition. That's what I try to do. Can I create those small moments where that's my joy. The freedom is the freedom to explore, the freedom to create products, the freedom to actually work around things which people... I tell everyone, tell me something which you think cannot be done with chocolate and give it to me. Let me see if I can work on it. So can you mix flavors? So it's like what I said earlier. So this person who was doing moringa actually told me it's impossible that, Jacob, you're going to give me chocolates with moringa.
Yes, seriously, you cannot even imagine such a...
I gave him a box of 9 chocolates, which had 5 different varieties, all with his moringa. So it's not... So the product... See, I keep telling people, I don't want you to give just a Jacobi to someone. It should be yours.
It should be outstanding.
It should be yours. It should have something which... if you're gifting something to me, it should have something of yours in it.
Okay.
Not just a box which is wrapped nicely and
attractive.
And I think all them is the given.
Okay.
Today, if you really value the people to whom you're giving a gift, you want it to be the best product, you want it to have the best packaging, you want everything. Yeah. So what is the extra? Everyone is doing the same thing. Everyone is giving you packaging. Everyone is... So what is that extra? The extra is the emotion. Okay. The extra is that emotion which we bring about to our products. And I think that is what makes me go forward and move forward with Jacoby.
Jacoby, yeah. Fantastic, yeah. So your globe-trotting quest to learn from chocolate masters around like a dream come true. Can you share a particularly sweet memory or a groundbreaking lesson from this time to exploration?
As I said, I started off in Germany, and after which probably I traveled to every other country who you think makes good chocolate. Okay. So it could be in Australia, it could be Switzerland, it could be the US, Canada, you name it. I think Belgium.
Even Gulf regions also, I guess. Some of them.
Gulf, I've not gone in particular to learn about chocolate. So learning chocolate has been everywhere else.
Okay.
Had the opportunity to go to Ecuador, but that is when COVID struck, so I couldn't go there.
Okay.
But to answer this question in 2 bits, I think chocolate, or for anything for that matter, is a continuous learning. Right. You got to be at it, understand. We're never perfect. The day I assume that I know everything, I'm sure I'm not stuck. I will start going down.
Okay.
So continuously learning from the masters in each respective field. Okay. So chocolate is one broad term. How do you make the chocolate? That's a chocolate maker. So from the cocoa to actually make the chocolate is one exercise. What about the fillings that you do inside?
Yeah.
That's the ganaches and the fill. So how do you learn that? How do you learn about the finishing of chocolate? So that's the painting and the way it looks.
Yeah, the
attractive. So that's one. How do you make figures out of chocolate? So we see a lot of it on the net today, where people actually use. Earlier they used to use wires, etc. Today it's just chocolate. Every piece of that is edible.
Okay.
How do you make that? How do you leverage technology to help you in a way where you're doing something better? So you have 3D printing, form making tool. Yeah. Can we do all these? Can we utilize all this? At the same time, remain artisan. So the challenge is to imbibe technology which is very advanced, same time remain small. Remain small in the sense, I'm not saying as a company, but able to give you one box of chocolate. Because when you come to me for a box of chocolates, you cannot order 100 boxes. You want that one box of chocolate which is special. I should be able to give you that. Okay. So we try, and for that purpose alone, I travel the globe. Nuggets, I think, the first part is learning that you are but a dot in everything else.
Okay.
So you don't, and second, not to take yourself too seriously. I've started enjoying everything I do, just not chocolate, everything I do. I'm serious about what I do, but I'm not serious, and it's a big difference. It's a great balance. See, you cannot be. I think we need to start learning to enjoy everything we do, and this is something which I learned in my travel to learn chocolate. Because when you go to the masters and they are playing with you, they are loud music at the background, they are cracking joke, they are breaking stuff, enjoying it. And here I was stuck up in a straight jacket. What am I doing? So here. So then I learned that it's all about reinvention. You keep reinventing. And I think one of the lessons I learned is to move forward, you need to move back. So sometimes we're
like
stuck.
A wave that comes.
You have to go back. So there are times which you want to move forward, you're stuck, you don't know what to do. The easiest thing is just to take 2 steps back, and then suddenly something will open up. I think something which I learned very early on when I went for learning is that the buck stops with you, starts with you and stops with you.
Okay.
And so you enter a place, there's no one going to come and clean up after you. There's no one going to come and take care of the mess that you've made.
Being chocolate, I can understand.
So you have to, so you learn about chocolate, you create a mess because the first time you're working, right? It's a mess. Then you clean. You suddenly find newfound respect for people who are actually doing the cleaning, right? Because it's not easy cleaning chocolate. Water and chocolate don't melt.
Wash well.
Yeah. So that's something which I learned, where you do something in the factory, you clean up and move. There's no one else going to come and clean up for you.
You cannot expect, wait, somebody's going to come.
No. Today in the factory, everyone does their own job. So there's no one who's going to come. And so in the office, the factory, we don't have someone who's a cleaning staff. We have for the rest of the factory. But inside the main plant, everyone does everything, including the manager. I think all these are learnings which I had, but again, continuing to learn. I think when COVID struck, I was in the US or something. Just about, that's when I was supposed to go to Ecuador. But then the world shut for 2 years after that. So
tremendous time.
So back here, but I think it's a joy to be able to travel, learn from people, create a network. And I think where I run into problems today, I have multiple minds working to give me solutions, and those solutions are not in my factory. Those solutions are across the world. Everyone's happy to help. So
that's a great way. Your curiosity about cocoa's potential is truly inspiring. Tell us about a specific discovery you made or an innovative technique you developed that left you like Willy Wonka himself.
As I mentioned earlier, there are two facets to chocolate. One is the cocoa to chocolate, and the second is the chocolate onwards. So it's two separate, even if you're making it in one factory, these will be two separate divisions. Fortunately or unfortunately, in Kerala is a place where you get a lot of cocoa. However, the quality of the cocoa is not that good, is what everyone says. I differ, and I say the cocoa is probably good. It's just the fermentation which is not good. And fermentation is what brings out the essences and the taste of a good cocoa and chocolate. So how you dry it, how you ferment it. And that amount of teaching is not gone to the back end where the farmers are growing, or they're not being paid enough for these aspects. This was something which I was supposed to go to Ecuador and spend a couple of months and learn with the farmers in Ecuador, which I'm yet to do. But what I learned is about tasting cocoa, raw cocoa. So we used to take fermented beans and we actually eat
the bitter one.
You eat and you get, and by eating that, you can actually trace the history of the cocoa bean right through its fermentation to the. So you get everything. So has it been fermented well, under fermented? Was it plucked when it was ripe? Was it? So and these are the nuggets which come in, right? And this helps, but it's also a problem because when you eat chocolate and you start getting these tastes, you start making this chocolate, they didn't do this job, they didn't do that job. So you can't just eat. Unfortunately for me today, I can't just sit and enjoy a chocolate for what it is. The minute I put a chocolate into my mouth, and my brain is already working about what is good, what is bad. Oh, this is beautiful.
So analyzing the chocolate.
It's always analyzing, and invariably you see a lot of products which probably are better than yours also. And now you're looking and saying, okay, what have they done differently, which is giving this taste? So these slight nuggets which you get, I can't probably say this exactly is what I've learned, but it's a combination of a lot of things. But again, I hope I'll be able to travel to South America one of these days to actually work on the farms there and understand best. Because for one thing I know for sure is the best quality or the taste comes from the beans from South America.
Colombia, probably.
Ecuador.
Yeah. All right. But that's it. Okay. So juggling negotiations, business planning, and the artistic flair needed to craft Jacoby's masterpiece. Sounds like a delicate dance. How do you find the perfect balance between these seemingly desperate skills?
So it's like being a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
It's like being a pianist or where you need to be gentle.
Yes.
And being a 100-meter sprint, whatever. Because sometimes you are with fine touch. When you're designing a product, it's all about the finesse, understanding the nuances, and trying to get the best out of each of the ingredients that you're putting into it. So if I put, for example, let's take coffee, for example. Coffee from every estate has a different taste. The roast of a coffee has a different taste. We are working with some clients today on coffee, and they've given me 3 different packets of coffee from the same estate.
Oh, okay.
And all 3 are different. How does that blend with chocolate of mine?
Okay.
So do I use a plain milk? Do I make it a dark milk? Do I need a white? So those nuances is the touch and feel of what I do. But now a customer can pay only as much as X for a product, right? I can't charge beyond something. I need efficiencies in my system so that I can give the best product at the best value. I wouldn't say price, but at the best value. In order for me to do that, then as you said, the negotiations and the hard tax come out. The costing of what you're trying to do. But something we've not done, and we try not to do, is to let cost determine the product.
Okay.
So it's the other way around. So we don't make a
cost baggage to.
No. So we don't make a product to a cost. We make a product with the best possible ingredients, and once we pass off saying this is the product we need, we try adding efficiencies into the system to reduce the cost of the product. We won't tinker with, for example, the type of butter I'm using, or the type of orange I'm using, or the coffee I'm using because something else is cheaper.
Okay, got it.
Because I believe that my customer pays me for what I'm offering as value. So I cannot as I said, there's no shortcut. There's no short change.
Very true.
And today my customers trust the brand. I have customers who just call up and say, send a box. They don't even ask what is in it, or so they say my budget is X, send 20 boxes to these people, and addresses come. So I spoke to a customer and I said, so why would you do that? He says, Jacob, the minute I tell you, it's your responsibility. I know you will do it. I don't have to bother.
That confidence and
trust. How do I let this trickle down to the person in the factory who's making the chocolate, where he or she knows that what she's doing is being valued by the person eating the chocolate? See, it's important.
Very true.
So we try to get everyone in the factory is allowed to eat chocolate. There's no restriction in terms of you cannot eat, and happen you eat.
Okay.
If I buy chocolate in my store, the first thing I do is offer the person sitting at the back to eat along with me. Okay. Why that is important is, unless they recognize the value of the product they are making, how will you explain the value to someone else?
Very true.
But it has a downside. Today, all my people, all the team which works for me cannot eat less than good chocolate. So they keep telling me, thanks to you, sir, now we cannot eat chocolate which is less than good.
Yeah, understood.
And good chocolate is expensive.
Yeah.
So how do you bring about all these nuances into? It's a very delicate balance, right? So you need to do this. Your customer wants the best products, but it has to have value for him. So how do you create that? Someone who's getting married wants someone to be very personal. At the same time cannot be over expensive, but they need it to be theirs. So how do you do that? How do you discuss it with that? So it's like wearing different hats at different times. So in the factory I have a separate hat. When you're talking to a customer, it's a different hat. There are some customers who just want chocolate. They've heard about your brand, they don't know anything about it. They say, I need chocolate. They are the easy customers. So
Understood.
you give them
That's
any
a
chocolate.
trust, that they
You give them
probably
chocolate,
have,
they're
yeah.
fine. Many of our customers have come to us because of word of mouth references that they've got from someone else.
Okay.
So they've already come with the baggage of trust,
Yeah.
if I can call it
Yeah.
that. And I cannot let them down. So I say even one unhappy client or customer is 100% strikeout.
Understood. Yeah.
So we take extra effort to
Ensure that
everything happens.
Forward.
And this is the question, no, right? You're running at times, you're walking at times, you're
Yeah.
flying at times.
Yes.
But it's all it
balance,
flows
yeah.
harmoniously.
Yeah.
But what keeps us or keeps me going is I've learned to enjoy what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I don't, even in the toughest of days, I'm like this. So
Okay.
nothing changes.
Accept me.
So because I think if you let it get your head,
Yeah.
you would rather screw up the entire day
Yes, very
than
true.
create solutions for it.
Understood. Yeah.
Take a break. It's like I said, no, take 2 steps back,
then
and suddenly
watch,
nothing
yeah.
seems that urgent or that bad anymore. And then you can move forward. So,
Very true.
so I keep doing that. But yeah, as you said, it's difficult at times because you may be switching hats very fast.
Yeah, I know. Depending on the circumstances.
Depending on the circle, you have tough customers who
Exactly.
come to you only for price. You will have issues where the logistics is not reached, or you will have someone where the courier guy has opened up your box and had all your chocolates. Or
Lucky fellow.
or for example, you have clients who order chocolates from you, and the courier guy who's supposed to deliver it to him calls him and says, "If you want, come and collect it."
Oh God.
And this is all time thing.
Yeah.
So if you're sending a chocolate which has a 48-hour
time frame.
you put ice packs for maybe a 52 hours.
Mhm.
But beyond that, then it starts melting.
Understood.
So you're time bound to do things.
Mhm.
So you have these, but I think today we have a team who looks after all this
Mhm.
better than I can do it,
Mhm.
calmer than I can do it.
Okay.
And
So you don't have to worry about that area. Yeah.
if we are being trusted for something, I think
Yeah.
the least I can do is trust my people to do it well.
That's exactly.
So
yes.
they do it, so
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that.
Fantastic. Yeah.